Hello chess lovers, Suren here, and in this video I would like to share with you a fantastic game played by Fabiano Caruana. His opponent is Hikaru Nakamura, and this game was played in 2016 at London Chess Classic. Now let's see what happened on the board. Caruana started the game with e4 and c5 by Nakamura, Sicilian defense, knight f3 d6, d4, c takes d4, knight takes d4, knight f6, knight c3, and a6. Nakamura goes for Najdorf variation and bishop g5. Caruana is choosing the main line. Usually he's going for English attack, but this time he decided to go for the main line in order to surprise Nakamura. e6 by black. Now comes f4, h6, bishop h4, and queen b6. This is a fashionable version of the poisoned pawn variation. It is not as common as the immediate queen b6, but the position of the white bishop on h4 may favor black in some of the sharp lines after the capture on b2. a3, Caruana is indirectly protecting the pawn on b2 because here queen takes b2 can be met with knight a4 and black queen is trapped. After a3 we see bishop e7, bishop f2. Already there are some nasty threats, that's why Nakamura moved back his queen on c7, queen f3, knight d7, white castles queenside, b5. Now comes g4, white is launching a pawn storm on the king side, and in return Nakamura is playing g5. He is striking a sudden counter blow with an obvious idea to gain the e5 square for his knight, h4. G takes f4, bishop e2. Of course, capturing on f4 is not possible because of e5. That's why after g takes f4, we first see bishop e2. After knight e5, white wants to capture on f4, and already the pawn on g4 will be protected. And b4 by Nakamura, which is a novelty. But he's not yet aware how prepared his opponent is. A takes b4, knight d5. Queen takes f4 and knight takes g4. Black is freeing this e5 square for the pawn. Bishop takes g4 and e5. Right now 3 white pieces are hanging, the bishop, the queen, and the knight. And the question arises, how is white going to proceed with the game? For example, if queen d2, then black can capture on g4, and if knight f5, then bishop takes f5, and then rook b8. The players have equal chances, although this position is probably even easier to play with the black pieces. But after e5, instead of moving back his queen, Caruana went for a shocking move and he captured on f6. Look at this beautiful queen sacrifice. Nakamura was obviously expecting it. However, it seems as he did not dig deep into the position, and Caruana quickly proved his advantage. Bishop takes f6, now comes knight d5, queen d8, and knight f5. White has only 2 knights against the queen, but if we have a look at the position, it's very difficult to find a good continuation for black, and black's position looks miserable. After this move, Hikaru fell into a deep thought for the first time in this game. Definitely he was expecting knight c6, after which black can capture on g4, give away the queen, and then after bishop takes d8. This position is unclear, black has powerful bishop pair, but instead after queen d8, knight f5 was played. After the game, Caruana explained that this was the idea of his second Rustam Kasimjanov. Rook b8. Nakamura is acting against bishop b6 move, but instead of playing rook b8, it was better first to capture on f5 and only play rook b8, although after c4 still white has a very pleasant position. But in the game we see rook b8 straight away. Now comes knight takes f6, queen takes f6, and rook takes d6. Bishop e6, rook d1, and black castles kingside. Now comes h5, white is freeing this h4 square for the bishop, and queen g5 check. Well, not a good move, it was better to play rook e8. If bishop h4, then queen h8, this is the most stubborn defense. But in the game after h5 we see queen g5 check. Now comes bishop e3, And after Nakamura moved back his queen, Caruana grabbed the pawn on h6, after which black's king side is becoming more vulnerable. King h8, bishop f5. Already white has created a very dangerous knight takes f7 threat. For example, just a random move. If rook takes b4, then knight takes f7 check is coming, and then rook takes e6. This is crushing, guys. The threat is rook h6 check and then rook g1. That's why after bishop f5, black should actually play rook e8. Although after rook g1, rook takes b4, rook takes a6, still black is in a very difficult situation. But in the game after bishop f5, we see queen e7 and b5 by Caruana. Although instead of playing b5, he could capture on f7 straight away. If queen takes f7, then again rook takes e6. With the same devastating threat. If queen takes h5, then rook h6 check, and then this endgame is going to be winning for white. But in the game after bishop f5, queen e7, we first see b5, and only after queen e8, Caruana went for knight takes f7 sacrifice. Rook takes f7, rook takes e6, queen takes b5, and after rook h6 check, finally Nakamura resigned. Let's have a look what if, for example, king g8, then the second rook can join the attack, and then both rooks can start chasing black king, and then after rook takes b8, queen takes b8, this time the dark squared bishop can announce a check, and then rook g8 check, and then this bishop d6 check is coming, and it's over, guys. White is winning. That's why in view of these lines, after rook h6 check, Nakamura resigned. A very impressive attacking game, I think. Although that queen takes f6 sacrifice was a home preparation, but all in all, after that sacrifice, Caruana managed to realize his advantage precisely and won the game. Thanks for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this brilliant game. For more games, consider subscribing to my channel. I will see you in the next video.